Did you know that the UK government is planning major changes to the benefits system? What does this mean for those relying on support in a time of rising costs? Stay tuned as we uncover the hidden truths behind these reforms and their impact on vulnerable communities. Act now to understand how these changes could affect you. In recent days, the UK government has unveiled a series of sweeping reforms to its welfare system, a move that has sparked significant debate across the political spectrum. Historically, welfare systems have been designed to provide a safety net for the most vulnerable members of society, yet the proposed changes seem to reflect a growing trend towards austerity, prioritizing budget cuts over support for those in need. The reforms, set to take effect in stages over the next few years, aim to tighten eligibility for personal independence payments, or PPs, which assist individuals with long-term health conditions. Starting in November 2026, the criteria for these payments will become more stringent, potentially leaving many without the support they rely on. This shift raises critical questions. Who truly benefits from these changes and at what cost to society's most marginalized? The government claims that these reforms are necessary to eliminate perverse incentives that keep individuals dependent on benefits. Yet, the reality is that many of those affected are already struggling to make ends meet. For instance, while the daily living component of PP will see an increase in line with inflation, the tightening of eligibility could paradoxically lead to a decrease in overall support for those who need it most. As Work and Pensions Secretary Liz Kendall stated, "We want to ensure that those who need help receive it, while also encouraging a pathway to work." However, this statement contrasts sharply with the experiences of many who fear that their attempts to re-enter the workforce will result in losing vital support. Moreover, the decision to scrap the Work Capability Assessment by 2028 raises further concerns. This assessment has been a critical tool in determining eligibility for incapacity benefits, and its removal could lead to a chaotic transition for many individuals who rely on these payments. The government suggests that this will streamline the process, yet it remains to be seen how this will play out in practice. Will the new system truly provide the support needed, or will it further marginalize those already on the fringes? The proposed changes also disproportionately affect younger individuals, with those under 22 losing access to incapacity benefit top-ups. The government argues that this will encourage young people to pursue work and training opportunities, yet this approach overlooks the systemic barriers that many face in accessing employment. As one expert noted, without addressing the root causes of economic inactivity, these reforms risk perpetuating a cycle of poverty rather than breaking it. This pattern recalls historical parallels, such as the welfare reforms of the early 2000s, which similarly aimed to reduce dependency but often resulted in increased hardship for the most vulnerable. As we look to the future, it is essential to consider the implications of these changes. Will they lead to a more equitable system, or will they deepen existing inequalities? The government's commitment to reinvesting savings into work support and training opportunities remains to be seen, and many are left wondering if this is merely a facade to mask the harsh realities of austerity. In conclusion, while the government presents these reforms as a necessary step towards a more efficient welfare system, the underlying implications suggest a troubling trend towards prioritizing fiscal responsibility over social equity. As we navigate these changes, it is crucial to advocate for a system that truly supports all individuals, particularly those who are most marginalized. The question remains, can we trust that these reforms will lead to a fairer society, or are we witnessing the dismantling of a safety net that has long been a cornerstone of social justice? In my view, these proposed changes to the UK's welfare system reveal the government's ongoing disregard for the most vulnerable members of society. By tightening eligibility for benefits like personal independence payments and freezing incapacity benefits, the government is essentially punishing those who are already struggling the most. The emphasis on reducing perverse incentives betrays a fundamental misunderstanding of systemic poverty and disability, instead of addressing the root causes of economic inequality. It is striking that the wealthiest continue to hoard resources while those with the greatest needs are forced to jump through increasingly punitive hoops. As these cuts loom, one must ask, whose interests are truly being served by a system that reduces the safety net rather than expanding it? Scribit y Dale like para mantenert in Fomadu.